Family, good evening, good morning, depending on where you're tuning in from. Welcome to Unapologetic, being Black and queer in podcasting. I am so excited that honored really that you decided to join me for this evening's broadcast. It's going to be so good. I'm telling you the truth. I am Anna DeShawn. Pronouns, anything respectful is great. And this is the second year we are presenting this broadcast during Pride Month. I get a lot of joy out of amplifying Black queer podcasters, period. We're doing amazing work out here in the world, and more people need to know about it because I think you'll enjoy them too. And so, first off, I want to say thank you to a very special human being who made sure we could get this broadcast done. And I want to welcome her to the stage. So, Elsie, where you at, Elsie? Elsie Escobar, what's going on?
What's up? What's up? I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so sweaty already.
Let me tell y'all something. This broadcast does not happen without Elsie, okay? If you don't know, Elsie is a legend in the podcasting space. We don't need to talk about how long she's been in this game. Just know it was probably before you started listening to a podcast, okay? She works alongside She Podcasts. She works at Libsyn. She pod parody. I mean, she is an advocate in this space and an active ally, okay, a comrade in all of this work. And I'm grateful, Elsie, that you are in the background running all of the keys,
Oh my gosh.
okay, orchestrating this situation. She did all the graphics. Y'all show
I'm
Elsie
so excited.
okay?
I'm so thankful that we're doing this again. It is one of my most favorite things to do, to have you guys on board like this and get to know so many more Black and queer podcasters, because we need more of your voices everywhere. And if we can provide any kind of support, so honored that She Podcast is here, honored that Libsyn stepped on board here to sponsor this whole event. And so I'm here for you.
Yes.
You ready to get started?
I am. I'm ready to get started. And so, family, I love this chat. Y'all are popping off. I love it. Please keep it going. You know, I'm a church kid. Okay. I'm a church kid. I love me some good call and response. We're going to be having a lot of good conversation. So I want you all to continue to talk in the chat, maybe get to know each other, maybe make a connection with somebody, right? This is going to be fun. Tell us where you are connecting from, what city you are in, south side of Chicago right here, okay? Keep them coming. Also, we're going to be taking questions at the end of this, all right? So let me tell you a little bit about the flow. I'm going to interview each podcaster, all right? We're going to have some one-on-one time, and then we're going to come back as a big group and do Q&A. So if you've got questions that come up, please put them into the chat. And Elsie is watching the chat, watching the comments, and we're going to take them at the end. I got my own questions, but I really would love to take yours, okay? So without further ado, how about we get started with this broadcast, family? I am so excited to welcome our guests, right? Shayna and Chris, you in the building from Bad Queers. We got Travell in the building from Fanti. What's going on, y'all?
Hey.
Hey, everybody. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Y'all all beautiful and brown and golden and shining. Y'all all, it looks beautiful. Hey.
Just cue Jill Scott in the background. It'd be great.
I was about to say something. I ain't gonna say it, but yep, Jill Scott. Just maybe not her podcast. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. But we ain't gonna start there right
now.
I
mean, we could talk about it. You want to start it?
Nope, I don't. No, I don't. Because this is Pride, and this is about Black queer podcasting, and that's what we're gonna keep talking about here. Okay, all right. So first up, we're gonna talk to Bad Queers. Travell, we're gonna see you in a little bit. What up, y'all?
Hey, Anna. Thanks for having us.
I am so happy. We really got to know each other. We did like the end of the year broadcast together, and I'm such a fan of the pod, and I want other people to be fans too. Okay, so we are here to shamelessly amplify the work that y'all are doing. So let me tell the good people, okay, in your description of the podcast, it says your podcast is for people who feel like they came out the closet and got placed in a box. Say more about that.
when we launched this podcast, we thought about the coming out process and how we go from all of these stereotypes that we felt like we needed to be a part of in the straight community to then only come out and have all of these new stereotypes forced upon us in the LGBTQ plus community. And it's like, why? We're out here to be free in our identity and free in our personhood, and yet stereotypes, because heteronormative things happen, follow us everywhere. So we want to support people who don't want to fit in that box, who feel like they just want to be themselves. And that is the hope that we have for anybody who listens to the podcast.
Love it. Chris, you got anything else to add to that?
No, Shayna says it well, but yeah, we all grew up with predominantly white gay male representation when we talked about the queer community. So any way that I could be a part of expanding the visibility and speaking for those who do live in the intersections, we're going to do that and build that space.
100%. And I want to know, why did you choose podcasting? Today, we got lots of mediums we can choose from, you know, but you chose podcasting. Why?
Yeah, when we started looking at this, really, when I started looking at this and then kind of forced Chris into this area, but we'll get there. It was 2019, 2020 that I started getting into the idea of podcasting. And at the time, we were both working at a queer dating app. Podcasts were just starting to get really popular. And initially, it was just trying to pitch it as a smart marketing play for my boss, when really I wanted to be on a podcast. If I wasn't going to be on the radio, I really wanted to do some form of talking. And things hadn't really come together in the time that I was planning for it. And then Chris started working at the app that we've worked for. And I just looked and was like, well, this person doesn't know it, but they're going to be the co-host on this podcast. And when you get to be on podcasts, it solely focuses on storytelling. You know, it doesn't matter really like what you look like. Yes, we're going to highlight and amplify us as Black queer podcasters, but we get to tell stories. We get to hear voices. We just get to hear people's truth. And it's the one time that people are literally just sitting down and actively listening. And I think that was the most important thing. Like, Chris and I weren't huge on being like, oh, we need to be on camera and be face to face and like YouTube live it. We were like, we just want to come on here and talk our shit. So podcasting felt like the right way to do it.
Yeah, it's super intimate. Like I grew up with my parents listening to Tom Joyner. And I love the way that he made them feel, like the humor, the news. Some of it was good and bad. Some of the things they, disagreed with, but like radio is such an intimate thing. And I always thought podcasting was too, before even starting with Shayna. And one of the things we bonded over is our love of the read. And I remember being an early The Read fan and them starting the podcast, Crystals and Kid Fury, shout out to them, and how it made me feel seen and respected and heard. And like in my head, they're my best friends, So if I could do that for, somebody out there, or just like make somebody smile, or, put somebody onto something, like that's what I want to do. So it's just, it's an intimate medium. Radio's not dead, but it's podcasts now. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
I agree. I mean, I think that speaks to a lot of why we're in podcasting and some of our story, right? So we got the E3 radio, we playing queer music all day long, but there was no way we were just going to stay in the radio medium and think we were going to be able to grow. I mean, podcasting is where it's at. I also think, to y'all's point, I totally agree about podcasting being very intimate and building relationships with people. And actually, my love for radio really grew when I got an internship to turn Tom Joyner on in the morning. So the fact that we evoking Tom Joyner right now is amazing. So actually turn Tom Joyner on. I would do the traffic and the weather during those breaks. And I realized I could sit around in my sweatpants and talk to thousands of people at the same time. And no one cared what I looked like, right? Because we already know people like us do not end up behind the desk doing the news. We don't see us on these major networks. And so radio became a great place where all people cared about was my voice, to y'all's point. Yeah. And one part about y'all podcast, y'all got segments, y'all be doing your thing. It's really great. And there's one segment called the bad queer opinion. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell the people what that segment is all about.
Chris, go ahead. You talk about it. Go ahead and talk about it, Chris.
Listen, we said that we're already off the beaten path of the white gay male, or just white queer, viewpoint of most things. So, we have bad queer opinions about things that are uniquely Black and queer. And we express them when we can, and encourage our guests to come on and give their Bad Queer opinion and just hold that space. I don't think it's anything we've ever said too offensive. Like that's not what we're setting out to do. It's just a space to just be honest about certain things that you don't agree with, that the majority of the community agrees with. So, it started that way. And I think when we were planning out the podcast, like we wanted to have a segment that we could kind of express ourselves, but, not feel, scared to do so. And that's what we do with Bad Queer Opinions.
100%. And we got clips. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. That was like, it's one of those spaces where a lot of people feel like if they say the certain thing, they're going to get side-eyed or shaded or anything like that. So we want to be the people that open up the door to those conversations in our Bad Queer Opinion segment, because more people are thinking it than those are saying it. And so we want to open up the door for the folks who need to say it.
I love it. And we got clips today, y'all. So family, this is an interactive situation.
Girl and bro should be genderless, because I just feel like, the essence of girl, when you're telling gossip, it's just like,
it's so
defies boundaries, honestly.
It does. It makes sure that people are paying attention.
Yeah.
When you talk as well. Like it's commanding the space as it should.
Yeah. And it just resets the conversation. Like and like how strong the tea is too, when you're just like, girl, like it is, you know what I mean? You can't get that type of feeling with, I'm sure there's other words that are very genderless, but girl just,
bitch is one as well.
Bitch too, bitch bitch should be genderless as well. We need to develop a list of genderless words. Yes. So bitch is absolutely on the list.
I don't know how weird it is for you all to watch yourself.
Always weird. I'm like, how y'all listen to this? But I appreciate y'all doing.
I was sitting there. I was like, Chris, what you about to talk about? And then I was like, it's a clip. It's a clip. Yeah.
100%. And I saw this Bad Queer Opinion. I was like, oh, that's hilarious, because we do be like, girl, please. And it is pretty genderless in our world.
It is. It just is. Like it just, it takes the story to another level when you're just like, girl, like it's just varying range. You could even just be like, girl, like you need it, and bro too. But we came back with a list of words that they're genderless. Like let's be honest. So
do we know this list off top of our heads, or we got to go back and listen to an episode?
Bitch was definitely one of them.
I was like, we had bitch, bruh. We said, this is a Black Queer podcast show. We were like, nigga.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Like when you come out here and you just turn around, you're like, nigga. Like,
yeah.
The energy is there.
Yeah.
The energy is there.
Yeah. I'm with that energy. We feel that. I see it in the comments. It's happening. There is agreement that this is a Bad Queer Opinion. I love it. Now on your show, y'all go a wide range, and I tried to cut down the clips, but I have two more, because I just wanted to talk about these two things. You talk about politics, you talk about pop culture, you talk about the things. And most recently, Netflix has The Ultimatum, the Queer Love Edition. How messy it was. Elsie, can we run this clip?
Going to be hilarious. And so basically during the experience, you either end up proposing and leaving with your partner and saying like, yep, I will accept the ultimatum, or you end up breaking up and going off with somebody else.
Yeah.
So it is going to be messy. It is going to be great. Honestly, this is the type of lesbian culture expose that I have been waiting for. I'm ready for our culture to be put on blast into the world, so that they can see, guess what? Gay boys are not the only ones that have mess too. And we deserve to have messy shows and messy experiences like this.
For sure. Love is love. Mess is best.
It is so messy. And let's be clear, my wife is a Real Housewives fan. She dredges me through the Love and Hip Hops. I have never sat through a whole show and just watched the whole thing. But the Ultimatum Queer Love had me stuck, and it was so messy.
It exceeded expectations too. Like I thought, there's been other shows, queer love shows, reality shows that came out that like flopped and weren't great for a variety of reasons. And this wasn't without its like issues for sure. But it was well-rounded mess. Like it was pretty good. I hope everybody else was full. Like it was a mess.
Yes.
So, yes.
Yes. I wonder if anybody in the chat, let us know, were y'all watching The Ultimatum? Did y'all get into that? Did you enjoy the mess too? Oftentimes we don't get the messy side, right? I think then in our community, the boys are seen as the partiers. They're the ones that go out to the clubs and sort of always a mess. And the lesbians, the queer feminines, women, whatever, are seen as like more serious, more committed, you hauling it all the time. Like, but this ultimatum child showed all the truth of the deal.
And the range. It gave us range as well, which was something that I really appreciated. But that was the thing when I was talking about how it's a lesbian expose. Everybody does just think like, oh, they met, they dated, they moved in, and now we got, we're doing household chores together and building tents in the background and living these perfect little angelic lives. And it's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And we need to talk about it, and we need to have that representation. To hear from my straight friends how much they love the show was even better. I was like, my gay guy friends would literally just say, so Xander and Yoli, and we would come running. We would come running to talk about it. And it's like, that's the first thing that we've really been able to have and like unite over on a big platform. Not saying that nothing else like that exists, but like on a big platform like Netflix, to be able to have that feels good. It feels good for the soul.
Fam, I'm old enough to remember Tila Tequila on MTV. Okay, it is. We have come a long way. We got a long way to go, but it used to be with like queer reality dating shows. Like it used to be rough.
And I think you speak to an important part here, and why also I'm so passionate about doing this series every year during Pride is because representation is important. All of it, right? And in this case, the messy part with ultimatum, but a glimpse into how relationships can and do go in our community. But y'all's pod is an amazing example of representation, and you are out here. You wanted to pick up a mic. You had something to say. And y'all are saying it, right? And doing it really well. I enjoy the pod. Okay.
Thank you.
And this next clip, because if y'all listen to Queer News, I always lead with the politics. It's something that I'm always trying to stay on top of because it does affect all of our lives. And y'all went there, especially about Florida. And I'm not going to say nothing else because y'all say it all in this clip.
DeSatan thought that fucking with Disney was a bad idea.
You fucking with the Divine Nine?
Fuck with the Divine Nine.
Bitch.
Like, bitch.
The way that you had the caucasity.
Listen.
The Divine Nine.
I don't think he understands. And no one in his
Where's Will
group,
Smith?
his cabinet understand.
Keep my Divine Nine's name out your fucking mouth.
Not what you want. It's not what you want. And then it's like the things he like. Why we always say, like, again, if we get past all the bullshit and stuff, like it's targeting all minority groups. This hits everybody, right? Mm-hmm. But for all of these groups to now have the motivation to put differences aside, we're not going to forget that some of them don't believe in our humanity. But for this, I don't think he understands the miscalculation of this, especially just with the Divine Nine. Like, you don't want to fuck with the Divine Nine. And that's not just Florida's Divine Nine that's going to get in and dig in his ass for this. No. This is nationwide, worldwide, because
that's
it's
a global
organization.
That's a global effort.
Yeah. So I think he stepped in it and he has no idea like what he stepped in with this. So I'm very interested to see how this goes because I mean, again, these Divine Nine organizations are active globally, but especially in the South. And especially in Florida. And again, you're going to have folks from all over that are going to make sure that this doesn't pass. Or if it does, like, you'll see the repercussions very quickly. Like, these are literally a checkbox of all the groups you don't want to fuck with.
Yeah.
Like
so, this is not the thing I would want to fight all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I love about this is because people who tune into your pod are not always expecting a political conversation, but it's so incredibly important to wrap it around how people can receive it. And I think people miss that when it comes to politics sometimes. And what's going on in Florida is so incredibly important. All right, we've gotten in this country, right, over 500 anti-LGBTQ trans bills that have been introduced across legislation across the country. We know DeSantis has been the lead on like showing all of his other conspirators how to do it and how to lead a fate like a hate and fear mongering campaign to get legislation passed. And I thought that commentary about what's happening and also going up against the Divine Nine and all these other things that are happening was just so incredibly important. Yeah.
Yeah, we always try and lead with news when we get to our kind of category is news and culture section. And I don't know what presently is happening now with that because they could always do things on the slide. But I know that after that, Florida did get pushback from that and kind of backtracked about not affecting those specific organizations. But regardless, like what's happening in Florida is a blueprint for what's happening in other places. They're learning how to craft this legislation and the language around it. And it's, it's in every state. It's in our home state of Virginia. And yeah, we're always going to keep, on top of the news because we have to. Like it's our lives that are at stake. So
in a very real way. And I don't want to pass that point you just said because our lives are at stake right now. Right. I think after all of that happened, because I think that clip was from March, right? The NAACP issued a travel advisory, right, for Florida. HRC issued their first emergency, like state of emergency for all LGBTQ people across the country because of all the legislation that's happening. Yeah, it's not something we can pass by. And I think that's why this broadcast is so important. I think that's why all these people are tuning in because they want to hear where they can get this information. And y'all are definitely a spot where folks should be getting this information. So, hey, I'm so glad y'all are here. This has been so good. This has been our one-on-one
having
time.
us.
Yeah. All right, so y'all gonna come back for Q&A. So everybody that's tuning in, please get your questions ready for Chris and Shayna for our Q&A session with Bad Queers. If there's things you want to know more about them, more about their show, definitely keep them in mind. All right. And now I am excited to welcome up my friend, my boo, Travell Anderson is with us as well. What's going on, Travell?
Hello. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm making it, child. I'm making it.
You busy, okay? You running for NABJ president. I see the videos, okay? When I saw the video, I said, dang it, I should be a member so I can vote.
I mean, we've been talking about this in your membership.
No, but you should have told me you was gonna be running. That would have been extra. I know. But family, if you don't know Travell is a journalist, a writer, culture critic, okay? They are amazing. And they are a co-host of a podcast called Fanti, all right? And their podcast, the description goes, it says, sometimes the people, places, and things we love don't love us back. We're fans, but we also have some anti-feelings towards them. Okay, say more about Fanti.
Yeah, so this is a show. We've been doing this show for 3 years, 4 years, question mark. And I co-hosted with Jared Hill, who's another Black queer journalist. And the long and short of it was, we just felt like a lot of the cultural conversations at the time lacked a lot of nuance, right? Like we were just like, everybody, just canceling everybody left and right and, doing away with different things. And we were like, oh, a lot of the cultural conversation is just like lacking nuance. It's lacking complexity. And so that's where we kind of came up with the name Fanti. We made it up, from the word fan and the word anti. And one of the example topics, we ended up doing this in our first season that I often use to describe the show is like Tyler Perry. Right now, we all know how we feel about Mr. Perry and his works of cultural productions. But if you are someone like me who grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, and your grandmama loved Tyler Perry plays, then you have a very soft spot for Medea, in your heart, in your spirit, right? And you can't just throw Tyler Perry and Medea away because, he has some writing challenges with his scripted content. You know what I mean? And so like we do episodes on people, places, and things like that, you know, just like deserve a little bit more wrestling with than just being, you know, black or white with our responses.
And I love the nuance, right? Because in my world, everything is not black and white. Everything is not. There is a lot of gray area and there's a lot of places for discussion. But what we find on Twitter or in these other places are people are just on either side. I was like, wait, this is a way more complex situation here than this. And you mentioned Jared Hill. And I want to know, how did y'all come together on this pod? I mean, both of you all are amazing journalists. And
well, at least one of us is. I can't speak for the other one.
You know what? He ain't here to defend himself, so I ain't even.
No, Jared is great. Jared is, for those who don't know, Jared Hill. If you remember, you know, leading up to, I think it was the 2016 election, perhaps. Ivana, what's her name? Melania Trump was doing a speech at the Republican National Convention, and she plagiarized a portion of Michelle Obama's speech that Michelle had given, you know, a year or so prior. Jared Hill is the journalist who broke that story on Twitter. And so he's a fabulous journalist and wonderful. We came together through NABJ, actually, the National Association of Black Journalists. We were both members of the LA chapter, and I eventually became president of the LA chapter. I had a different vice president who got a job that, you know, caused him to leave LA. And I asked Jared, who was a member at the time, to be my vice president. From there, you know, we just like developed this friendship, and folks kept saying, oh, you two, y'all got some chemistry. Y'all got a little something going on. Y'all need to, like, you know, record this. Long story short, we kept hearing it so much. We were like, okay, well, maybe we need to look into this. And so we were able to come up with the idea for Fanti. Well, we had a different idea first, but come up with the idea for Fanti. We're on the Maximum Fun Network, which is a worker-owned independent podcast network. And, you know, they were a place where I had guested on a number of other people's podcasts. White people podcasts, and they were like, oh my God, you're so great, you're amazing. If you ever want to do a show, let me know. And I was like, well, speaking of, I've got an idea. And so the rest is history from there.
It is, and I love it. I'm so glad that came together, because I really enjoy your pod. I have friends that tell me about your pod, and I'll be like, you listen to the Fanti? Like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I see you. Now, I got some video clips from Fanti as well, and I think they're wonderful conversation pieces. So the first one I want to dive into is the conversation y'all recently had around AI. Because in media, this is a thing that is happening in our world. And so let's play this quick clip around what you all had to say about artificial intelligence.
Think about, you know, all of the what they call them, the deep fake stuff. You can have artificial intelligence art, right? Like AI art. You can do AI music, right? We've seen these different stories pop up in many different fields about the impact of AI on what they do. And so my main question is, what will become of art and creativity, you know, in light of where it seems like artificial intelligence is going, right? Because apparently we've been all at this artificial intelligence thing for a little minute. We just did not know.
Since Clippy in 97. But like,
First off, yeah, I hadn't thought about, I don't know the last time I even heard Clippy. I was like, what did Jerry say? Clippy, what is happening here? But what I did enjoy about there's a longer clip, y'all, and if y'all want to get into Fanti, of course you can listen. They also do clips on YouTube, longer clips. But right, you all talked about Siri, right? Artificial intelligence. We've been using Siri for a long time, right? I talk to Siri all day, right? All these things around us, all the Alexas, all the Google Homes, all of the ways it's been learning us for a decade, right? And now ChatGPT, and now the next level of, you know, AI Ashley on the radio right now, answering calls. Okay, She answering calls. Okay, AI Ashley is busy right now. Like, what? What is going on?
It's wild though, right? It's super, because when you realize that artificial intelligence is something that we have like subconsciously been using, right? Maybe we didn't call it that, we didn't know that Clippy, the little paper clip in Microsoft Word back in the day, is a form of artificial intelligence, right? A lot of search engines are forms of artificial intelligence. For us, we were most concerned about, what does this mean for media? What does this mean for journalism, right? Especially as we see more and more layoffs happening in our industry, right? If these jobs come back, which they probably won't, because we'll be replaced by, Chat GPT can write you an article a lot quicker than I can. And now, you can go, and I don't know if people have actually played with Chat GPT. You should, just to familiarize yourself with what is possible, but you can have it write papers for you. You can then take that paper that it writes for you and tell it to, oh, this is a little too academic. Could you make it more conversational? And it will make it more conversational. I'm one of those people who watched iRobot, and I was like, oh no, honey, you got to watch out for the robots because they're going to take over. And I still feel that way a little bit, but it was really great to kind of tease that out on the show and with Jared, because I do think it's, it is a wild, wild west in a lot of ways for us.
It is right now, right? I mean, media and journalism, it's pretty scary to think about how AI is going to take folks' jobs, and the fact that those jobs probably won't come back. And now what we know AI can't do is have feelings, right? Bring the humanity to a story, right? We know that AI is currently scrubbing sites, media and journalism sites, not crediting people for their work, right? There's like a lot of things that are ethically wrong with AI right now. But then there's also a lot of amazing things that can really be helpful all at the same time. So I think we're all following what the next phase of AI will be. Will the government intervene in some of the same ways they intervened with LimeWire and music? When I was in college, child, it was a whole mood, okay?
Oh, wow. What a throwback.
I was busy, okay? We don't need to talk about no more about that, but I was busy doing some things. Now, family, if you don't know Travell, that's all right. You know them now, and they are an author now. They're an author. They have a wonderful book called We See Each Other, and I did an interview with Travell about this book. It's an opportunity for you to get to know them, but also the television and film that has impacted their life. It's a wonderful addition to the canon that we all need to read. Okay, so just go buy the book. I had to plug it. We See Each Other. Okay, go do that. All right. Now, you have interviewed Leon Talley, Lori Harvey, okay, Lil Nas X. You have covers, okay, Essence, Time Magazine, Out Magazine, Ebony Magazine. But what I really want to know about Travell are those Janelle Monáe parties, okay? Because you were there, and there's a clip about it. So let's just watch this clip, and then I want to talk about it.
I also had listened to it months ago when I interviewed Janelle Monáe for the Ebony Magazine cover in March. Thank you very much.
Wow.
So I've been heard the album.
A flex.
Okay. And I'm still playing it. Okay. Because I think she got some kind of drugs in them words and in that music. I think it's in the horns. Okay.
Okay.
I think it's in the horns.
You know how I feel about a horn.
I'm being for serious. I'm being for serious because them horns, okay, are working.
You know I love a horn.
This entire album.
What do you love about it?
So for me, I think, that vibe thing that you mentioned is there. But for me, I find it to be so much in conversation with, the things that I love about Renaissance, with the things that I love about Lil Nas X's album, with the things that I love about even just witnessing Grace Jones at WeHo Pride the other week. Like there's something there, right, in those collection of images that feel right and feel of this moment and feel very necessary, right?
Yes, feel very necessary. So The moment I realized y'all did video, let me tell you, I watch on YouTube. Okay, I love listening, but I love seeing. Okay, there's lots of things. So I mean, you really are on the pulse of culture. I mean, you are right there. How was that party?
I do what I can. So yes, I had the opportunity to attend, Janelle Monáe was doing this like tour of listening parties leading up to their album release. And so I had a chance to be at the LA one. But I had interviewed them for the Ebony magazine cover back in March. And so I got a private listen of the album before it came out. The version I heard didn't have any of the features. For the record. But the listening party, it was fun. It was cute. It's always great to like see Black spaces that are also unapologetically queer, right? And I think as we've seen Janelle Monáe specifically, come into herself in a public way, right? As they're doing with this particular album. It was just wonderful to be in that space, to see, fellow Black queer people who are also, in this entertainment media space, just, shaking our ass side to side with, Janelle Monáe, until it's bedtime. It was a really good experience. One of the wonderful, perks of living in LA and doing the work that I do.
It is a perk, okay. I don't know about that price of living, Chicago.
Well, it's expensive.
It's expensive, but the perks are pretty sweet, because that lipstick lover video, I was like, who got the okay. May I one day be on the short list, okay? It looked like a lit time. So Terrell, tell us, what can people expect from the podcast coming up?
Yes. So we are a weekly show. We come out every Thursday, wherever you get wonderful podcasts, also bad podcasts too. We can be found everywhere. And we have coming up on next week's show, we actually pre-recorded it today. We have been having ongoing conversations about propaganda and how it shows up in our lives, and the need for us to be like, interrogating those images. And so we have DeShawn L. Harrison, who's author of Belly of the Beast, who joins us. And in this conversation, we talk about propaganda, and we connect it to the conversation around Cop City in Atlanta, and how, the images we see on screen, might lead to, folks believing that something like Cop City is necessary. But we do a little bit of everything. We give you kind of your politics type coverage, because Jared is a political journalist by, training. I'm your culture and, your entertainment girly. And so our conversations kind of, run that gamut of, our fabulous experiences as Black queer folks who also happen to be journalists.
Yes. So family, it's that time. This time, let me tell you, this broadcast moves so quickly every year. I'm like, wait, we almost done? How is that a thing? How is that a thing? So Elsie, if you could bring Shayna and Chris back to the stage with us for Q&A. Family, please type your questions. I already got questions, so don't worry. But we would love to have your questions during this Q&A period while we have these amazing creatives here. So if you got podcasting questions about being Black and queer podcasting, I don't know, anything about anything, put it in the chat. Elsie is on the case. Shayna and Chris, I didn't ask y'all that question, and I meant to. So what can people expect from y'all's podcast coming up?
Yeah, so we just have a lot of exciting changes coming up. We got our 100% ownership rights of the podcast a few months ago. So we are full owners. We are parents. We got our children doing things with the podcast. So we have a few changes that are coming up. We'll have a new little look. We'll have some new topics. We'll have new spaces that you can engage and interact with us. And we're really excited to see what we can do as we lead the charge.
Yes, I love that. All right. So I'm looking for questions. Elsie's going to post them in the chat. Chris, I'd love to start with you with the Q&A portion of things. So this podcast is about being unapologetic, about being Black and queer in podcasting. How does the podcasting community really support Black queer creators in this space? How do you think we keep cultivating more pods like the ones that everyone here has created?
That's a good question. I would say continuing to support each other's podcasts. I mean, there's enough space for all of us. I love Fanti. I love, I mentioned the Read earlier. I love new Black queer podcasts that start off, and we make sure we support it. So continuing to shout each other out, share each other's content when we can, and guesting on each other's podcasts, anything we could do to make sure that we're supporting each other so that there is this big, just kind of ecosystem of Black queer podcasts and voices out there, is going to, take us where we need to go, and, just keep a strong community. Like we do have control of some of the things, and this is one of them. So yeah, continuing to support each other.
Yeah. Shayna Travell, anything to add today?
Yeah, I would just jump in and I'd say, I think the support part is important, but specifically for, the folks who, I guess, like myself, who have a little bit of a platform, right? Who, got a little bit of success doing these things. I think oftentimes, right, you get to a certain level and you be like, oh, girl, I'm not going on that podcast over there. Or I'm not going to amplify the work that those folks are doing over there. But I think it's important to always constantly amplify. I try to do, anytime Anna calls me, I'm going to be there. I'm going to show up. And I think doing that is important, even as we all kind of rise with our own particular platforms. And I think beyond that, I also think that there are,
I can't wait.
I think it's important for us to also spread the love in terms of the Black queer podcasts that we do platform when we get a chance, right? Everybody love to read. Love to read, love to friend zone. We love those titans, right, of Black queer podcasting. But there are so many others out there, right, who are doing really great work as well. And so, Jared and I, we were just featured for Pride Month in Apple Podcasts, little whatchamacallit, little profile, whatever they call them things. But it was super important for us to you're not gonna find the Read on our list of suggestions, not because the Read is not great, but the Read is good. Okay, they don't need the platform, right? No shade. So how do we continuously just make sure that we are uplifting folks who are doing really great work, even if they might not have, the particular level of platform like some of the others do?
Yes, and I want to say thank you for that love on the Apple Podcasting. Thank you. Okay, my big ups to Nicole Walker, who is our sponsorship manager. She was like, "Did you see this?" I was like, "No, I don't even know. What are you talking about?" She sent me the video. I said, "Oh, snaps!" I posted a video about it today. It really does matter. I also say, I think in the podcasting space, promo swaps, right? Feed swaps, supporting each other in that way, introducing audiences to other audiences as Black folks get into podcasting, right? More and more every year. Whatever's happening in the larger industry, that's happening. There's layoffs happening. There's, Sirius, Stitcher just quit their app. All those things are happening. But listenership from Black and brown communities is going up. So, right, this isn't a time for us to step away. It's a time for us to double down in this space. Also, to y'all's point around other Black and queer pods, right? We've got Queer Walk, big ups to Dr. Money. We got T and J as well doing their thing. We had this broadcast last year, right? Highlighting other Black and queer pods, and we'll make sure to show them more love. But there are a lot of us out here doing our thing. And we got questions from the audience. So thank y'all so much. Don't worry, I had it, but I appreciate y'all's questions. All right, here we go. Shayna, let's get this swing to you. What are some of the highs and lows of podcasting?
Child. not already. Everybody's head turn, all of the things. I'll start with the lows so we can finish with the highs. I think
there we go.
Time is not on our hands, and we have to make sure that it works. I think a lot of us who are doing things with podcasting are also doing 50 other things, and it's a labor of love, truly, when we do this, to have these conversations. It's fun. Chris and I talk about how podcasting is therapy all the time, especially because we are able to talk about our community and amplify the community. And it's great. And we want to make sure we have time for therapy because it's good for us. And there is so much that happens behind the scenes, from the editing to the social media to the posting. It's a job. It truly is a job. It truly is work. It's rewarding work, but you have to recognize like the time that it takes. And sometimes you look and you're just like, am I even reaching anybody? And are we doing any things? And that's where the highs come in. These types of events, talking to each other. Travelle, we're going to hit you up after this. Don't you worry. And, things like this that bring us together, bring our community together. When I moved to Chicago, for me to be able to connect with all of the other podcasters that we had talked to, and now they are collective friends, is one of the best things that can come out of it. We're building community with what we do. We're seeing the difference with what we do. We're highlighting stories that don't get highlighted on everyday media or major media sources, or portray us in the worst way. And we're making sure to reclaim and take back our narrative. And that's a really empowering, fun, motivating thing to be able to do that as ourselves. And I couldn't ask for anything better.
You didn't even stay too long in the lows. I appreciate where you went.
I do a little trend. We climbing up the slide. We climbing up here. And sometimes, if it's summer, it might burn a little bit, but we gonna make it. Like, that's it.
Chris and Travelle, y'all got any highs or lows y'all want to share with the good people?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with the lows too. I think, like, we are a show that we are blessed to be. We're on a small network, but a network nonetheless, right? So we have a producer who helps and handles the editing and the engineering and all of that. Praise the Lord, because my God, today. But to Shayna's point, like, so many podcasters, right? The podcast is not the day job. Right. The podcast is that extra thing. And so having to do your 9 to 5 and then do your podcast, my God, today. And so, like, I think of that. I also think of, to be quite honest, just like the money side of this work. Like, we, even with whatever marginal success that we have with Fantie, baby, the coins ain't rolling in. The advertisers ain't rolling in like you might think they are, right? And so, like, that is a low. And I would say on the high side of things is, like, despite all of that, right, it is the building of community. It is the types of conversations that we've been able to have that are deeply important to me. I just finished a limited series podcast based on the book called We See Each Other, the podcast. It's 9 episodes. I co-hosted with Shar Jossel, who is a fabulous journalist who also happens to be a Black trans woman. And ain't nobody listening to that podcast, right? And when you look at the numbers, ain't nobody listening. But the people who are listening, right, they're engaged, and the conversations that they're having with us, in the DMs about the importance of what we're doing, like, it's that stuff that makes it feel worth it, even if, the total listenership count, right, isn't where we would like it to be. But, like, those are the things that I think keep us all going. It's like that purpose and feeling the impact of the work that we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's what keep me going. Child, the numbers don't be adding, okay? You be like, wait, I did everything they said. Goddamn, I did everything they said.
We read all the articles.
I recorded good audio
things.
quality.
We bought the equipment.
We show up consistently, okay? And what you say the numbers are? Wait, let me switch that IAB off. Wait, unique, please. Unique only, please, around here. That's much appreciated. All right. This is an interesting question. Do you all need sponsors? If so, how much and who do you want? That sounds like an ask to me. I will. Bad queers. Y'all want to take that one first? Now that y'all.
Well, we do have a deck that we could share with rates and prices. And one of the things we did not mention that's obviously always good for support is money. So yeah, we could share that information offline.
I'm here for it. Yes, we all need sponsors, people to buy ads, right? I know for me with Queer News, I try to be very thoughtful about the number of ads I include in the pod because I don't want it to be full of ads, but also understanding that is how media pays for itself. If if you watching something and ain't got no ads, somebody paid for there not to be ads or for there to be that one ad. Okay. It is at a premium rate. This is how we survive. So if you are listening to a podcast that you really love, my advice to you is don't skip the ads. If you love them, don't skip the ads. Okay. It's helping to supplement income.
Can I add something on that real quick?
Yeah, please.
Not only don't skip the ads, but if you happen to be somebody who has, a little extra couple dollars or whatever, like engage with the ad, right? Like if we give you a code for something, right, and you have a couple extra dollars, go actually buy it, right? Because then what that says to the advertiser, right, is that them paying to have that ad on this specific show is something that they should keep doing. Right. And so it helps build, this sort of ongoing revenue opportunity for the podcast. So like, yes, listen to the podcast, but also if you got the dollars, and we know some of y'all do, okay, go ahead and buy the products or go to the websites or whatever, because that all is part of this like ecosystem to like keep our shows going and keep them profitable.
Period. That is the message. Okay. As I drop a code today, if you're in Chicago, you need to go to Lincoln Park tonight. Queer News. Okay. 20% off. Very good. Much appreciated. All right, y'all. It's amazing. This hour is almost up. We got 2 more minutes before I'm going to close this thing out. So I would love for you all to share how people can listen, how people can follow. If you've got somewhere that they can financially support, let's share all that information right now so that they don't leave here wondering how they can find you. So Bad Queers, y'all up first.
All right. Well, you can find and follow us anywhere that you listen to your podcast. Just look up Bad Queers Podcast. You'll see the yellow background. It is us. And same thing on social media. We are at Bad Queers Pod on all social media platforms. I was like, we do have a PayPal. We're going to get some other platforms that you can do. But anytime you ever want to fund us, just hit us in our DMs. It's a good time. But follow us in any of those places. Please listen. Please support. And thank you. Thank you for tuning into this broadcast with all of us as well.
Yes. Travell.
Yes. So you can check out the show at fantipodcast.com. Like I said, we've been doing it for 3 or 4 years or something like that. We started like a month before the pandemic. And so that was interesting.
Same.
But beyond that, we are at Fanti Podcast on all of the socials, including the TikTok machine. And if you would like to become, I mentioned that we are part of Maximum Fund, which is a worker-owned co-op network. The way we get paid at Fanti is through membership subscriptions. And so if you would like to become a financially contributing member of the Fanti fam, you can do that at maximumfund.org/join. Praise the Lord. And we would be so grateful.
I love how you so church. Okay.
I can't help it. I'm sorry.
I can't either. I can't help it either. That's why we get along so well. Chris, Shayna, Travell, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Everybody in the audience, please thank them for giving up their time and their energy tonight to share why being unapologetically Black and queer in podcasting is what they chose to do. And we love y'all for it. So thank you so much.
And we love you for bringing us onto this. So thank you. Shout out to Anna DeShawn. Shout out to Elsie for making sure that this all ran smoothly. But we appreciate y'all for bringing us in.
Yeah, thank y'all so much. And buy Travell's book, y'all.
Yes, buy my book. We see each other, a Black trans journey through TV and film, wherever you get good, fabulous, wonderful books and bad ones too. Thank you so much.
You better have it on the ready. Yes, go get the book. Okay.
Thank y'all so much.
All right, y'all. Now, family, here's the deal. We do this broadcast once a year. I saw somebody ask, when is the next one? I don't know. Maybe we can get someone to sponsor this, right? And we can do this more regularly. I do love having these conversations. I am passionate about amplifying Black and brown and queer folks of color voices here in the podcasting space. And what's really exciting right now, too, is that the business, right? The company that I am building called The Cube, right? We are ready to go live, y'all. We've been in beta for the last 6 months, and I'm excited to share it with y'all tonight. So, Elsie, you got me? Yes. So, family, right now, today, you can go visit thecube.app, all right? And you can begin discovering the very best BIPOC and QTPOC podcasts, all right? So, I'm just going to start scrolling just so you can see some of our catalog. All right. We have curated all of these podcasts. Literally, 2 people listened to them. They rated them based upon audio quality, right? Co-host vibes and connections, quality, consistency, all the things we care about when it comes to podcasting and audio production. We have accepted over 94 podcasts into this platform, podcasts that I know you can't find nowhere else because these other platforms weren't built to support it. And I am so excited for y'all to begin discovering these pods. And you can actually not only find them here, you can listen too. When you click on a piece of artwork, you can go and sign up and join the Cube and listen to these podcasts from inside the Cube. All right. Another exciting thing that's happening right now is that we are going on tour. We are going on tour. We are taking our podcast to the people. We create our own Cube originals here, right? We're cute. Yeah, we ready. You ready? All the things. You can go get your tickets today. We're going to start off in Brooklyn, New York with the Black Podcast Association Summer Social. Use our code Cube 2023 for a major discount on your ticket. We are going to have an amazing time. We're going from Brooklyn to Manhattan to the DMV in Silver Spring. We're going to head out to Denver. Then we're going to go to Minneapolis, all right, Atlanta, and we're going to end in Baltimore, Maryland. Here's the deal. If we get some sponsorship, if we get sponsors, we will head to California. I want to hit LA. I want to hit San Diego, and I want to hit Oakland, okay? But we need sponsors to get that done. But I want y'all to know today, starting now, right? You can go to the Cube, create you an account, begin discovering these amazing podcasts. If you have a podcast that you want to have as part of the Cube, you can submit that for curation. We're going to start the curation process back up here in a couple of months, and I'm really, really excited about that. Come on, tour. We're going to have a good time out here, okay? So family, thank you again for tuning in tonight. Elsie, I want to say thank you again for running this whole show. Videos, people, tech, screen share, branding. You did that, my friend. I'm so thankful. So also thank you to She Podcast. Thank you to Lipson for sponsoring, right? And I hope that y'all enjoyed this. I hope you found some more podcasts for you to dig into. And that's it. That's all. So now, if there was somebody who didn't watch this live, go share this across your socials. Tell everybody how good this was and how wonderful of a time you had. All right. Now, let me check my notes real quick. Make sure I ain't forget nothing. I don't think I did. So family, have a good night. Be safe out here. And I'll see y'all soon. Laters.